Namaskar, welcome to the Crescent world. Today we'll talk about the current hot topic in which our Indian Minister of External Affairs has stated in an all-party meeting, we are not a broker country like Pakistan. So, which made everyone in the opposition parties to hit up the topic like Indians are like okay, but the opposition party doesn't want it to be okay, and then they want to drag this as a big issue. So that is what the hot topic is all about today. But let us see like why our EAM has stated we are not a broker country. First of all, India has two doctrines which is imparted on our foreign policy. So one is called as strategic autonomy, in which we will see ourselves first and then we will not poke our nose in others' issue unless they want us to intervene. I mean, like it is like India will not poke nose into any other country's issue until both other parties they want us to be on the table or both request us to mediate a truce or mediate a ceasefire kind of thing between them. So that is why, like, first of all, we did not volunteer or we did not say ask for it, because first concept says strategic autonomy. Second, non-alignment. So we are not aligned between like any countries or any blocks. India does not occupy any block since 1947. So we've been offered both the parties, like initially it was two poles, one is Soviet Union, another one is USA. So India did not align with both of the sides. India had a like non-alignment policy. That is why India has not sought any help during our own problems. So we don't align with USA or Soviet Union that time. Even now, India has not changed any policy in this non-alignment. So we are not aligned with USA or Russia. So we have our own strategic autonomy and we have our non-alignment. These two are the main pillars of Indian foreign policy. So keeping these two in mind, if you see this problem of addressing Iran and USA issue, so it has to be like either Iran has to ask us what to do, or USA must ask India whether to mediate between Iran and USA. So both the parties has not requested formally or informally for a table in New Delhi for having any talks or mediation between Iran and USA. So this whole episode of the West Asia crisis happened because of the USA unilaterally attacking Iran with the help of Israel and Saudi Arabia. This is what happening. So we are not aligned between USA as well as any other parties in this thing. So we are victim of this war because say 1.2 crore people living in the Persian Gulf, around the Persian Gulf, in the Arabian Peninsula, and then we have strategic port called as the Chabahar port in Iran, which is the key route for international north-south transport corridor. And there is another port called as Haifa port, which is also our own strategic interest in Israel in the Mediterranean side. Like India as such, it is dragged in between these two like contrasting poles in this war because we are not aligned between, say, we don't take sides between Iran as well as the Arab world. Arab world is also important, Iran is also important. So that's why India did not say anything because it is not our war. In whatever outcome, this war has put India in a back foot, and USA is wantingly or purposely doing or orchestrating this West Asian crisis by which it is diluting an active and prospering group called as BRICS Plus. So it all started between September 2025 and February 2026. So the happening was BRICS Plus did not want to continue on with say the petrodollar system or the dollar hegemonial system. President Lula of Brazil, so he wanted to have a new currency or wanted to trade in our own currency between the countries. So that is the key start of this West Asia crisis, because the US leadership does not want this thing to happen. So they dragged Israel and Saudi Arabia into this war. So the BRICS Plus will not be an effective or a perfect solution for crisis-laden world. So this is what I see. And then when you see the BRICS expansion, it happened by like adding 6 other countries, 5 added themselves, and Saudi Arabia had to wait because US put on pressure on Saudi Arabia, and then it gave many incentive to Saudi Arabia so that Saudi Arabia is not joining BRICS Plus. Now, when you have a problem between 2 BRICS partners, who is going to gain? So this question we all must answer. That is why when Pakistan comes in as a uninvited mediator, that is the point, because US did not ask anyone to mediate between Iran and United States. Pakistan volunteered because it has nothing to say in any war. Crisis in the world happens because of, say, radicalization, and Pakistan is the radicalization cradle of the world. So in this region, Pakistan has been the underdog, or Pakistan has been a puppet of the Western regimes for decades, starting from, say, Soviet era to present world. Because in 1980s, Pakistan served as a comfort provider for the Western forces to operate in Pakistan, to help the Mujahideens to operate in Afghanistan, to crush or to avoid Soviet access to the Arabian Sea. So this is what happened in 1980s. Pakistan has been doing this since 1980s. And then 1970s, it wanted to cut off India, and then it gave its own territory, say East Pakistan, in the name of Bangladesh. That time also the West stood with Pakistan. The West has been supporting Pakistan since its inception. The Pakistan is a brainchild of Anglo-American regimes since 1947. Though it started in 1947, the planning of Pakistan started in 1930s for cutting off the land connection between the Soviet Union and India that time. That time it was called as Indian Union. So this is what the West has been doing. They purposefully cut India into 2, making Pakistan its own puppet state in that region so that they can keep check on 3 major upcoming forces or upcoming countries in the name of India, China and Soviet Russia at that time. So Pakistan now want to prove its loyalty to the Western masters. So they volunteered themselves for this uninvited mediator role. But Iran, will it listen to Pakistan? We know. Iran is not interested in mediation, that too with USA right now, because when Iran directly said, whenever we are negotiating, US is not a trustable negotiating country. So whenever the negotiation is on, they are attacking Iran. So Iran doesn't want to negotiate, that too from a Western puppet like Pakistan. They are not interested. But the opposition parties, what they do want is, they want to put Pakistan back on map. So they want to give importance to Pakistan. So that is the problem which our Indian opposition is doing since, say, 2014. Whenever Pakistan is down, at least even whenever China is down or China is making a mistake, India's opposition party takes the sides of China or Pakistan in maligning the name of Indian government, which is working properly. So that is why our MEA, Honorable Dr. Jaishnakar, said we are not a broker country, because Pakistan, what it is doing, it is just doing a brokerage. So what is the brokerage? It will ask for more F-16s. It will ask for, say, whatever they have lost in Operation Sindoor Phase 1 to be reconstructed. They want more weapons. or they want more money, they go with beggar bowl with every country, and they want to mediate now to increase their, say, begging arsenal. That's what they are doing. So that is why, like our MES said, we are not broking country or brokerage based country. We did not go to Russia saying like we will mediate between you and Ukraine, which US said for a long time they will broker a deal between Ukraine and Russia. Trump came to power stating like he will stop Ukraine war in a single day. It is almost like 1 year and 2 months. It's over now, but he has not moved anything to stop Ukraine-Russia war, and it is getting worse. So that is what it is happening. So India did not mediate, or India did not volunteer to mediate between Ukraine-Russia war because we are not invited. One more thing, we are very good friends of Russia. India and Russia share brotherhood and strategic partnership. We did not mediate between Ukraine and Russia, or offer to mediate between Ukraine and Russia, because Russia did not seek our mediation, Ukraine did not seek mediation. Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi met Putin and then directly said to him, this is not era of war, this is era of peace. So make peace. That is what Prime Minister Modi said. Even in our own, like, charity begins at home. We face the war at our gates in Kashmir, in Pahalgam. Our brothers were segregated on the basis of religion and shot dead at the point blank. And our sisters went widow. And what did India do? India struck their terror pots. We did surgical strike. We did precision strikes. And then when we were facing terrorists, Pakistan's army sided with the Pakistani terrorists and attacked our people. And India again hit their army bases, and we had air superiority, but we stopped the war. In 3 days, we stopped a nuclear power from actively participating in the war to go back to beg to the United States, stating, please stop this war. And then we did not stop because of the United States, or we did not stop because of President Trump. We stopped because Pakistani's DGMO requested for a ceasefire, and we stopped it. So we have to remind ourselves that we gave some advice to President Putin, stating like this is not the era of war. We followed the same thing. We stopped the war, and we are in a ceasefire, and we are in a pause. We can go back to war anytime. But the same thing which we tell others, we follow it. That is what our Prime Minister and his cabinet does, which the opposition conveniently brushes aside and drags Pakistan's so-called success in so-called proposed meeting, in so-called mediating a peace, in so-called truce, which can never happen between Iran and USA, because both the parties don't trust each other presently. They were not trusting from 1979, and we are in 2026. They can't even sit on a table, and then they cannot even trust each other from 2015 to 2019. And now our Indian opposition is stating a rogue country which has a third-rated leader, which will mediate between USA and Iran, which has contrasting characters, and a new regime in Iran will never ever sit with USA under the mediation of Pakistan. So the deal is very simple. Pakistan is a country who cannot be trusted, and it is not even trusted by any other country in the world. Even its own people won't trust Pakistan. But irony is, Indian opposition trusts Pakistan. That is why all these havocs or all this misinformation is spread between our Indian media houses because of Indian opposition. So to sum up, the Indian opposition did not want Indian government's success in the geopolitical chess in present world, and then it wants to give credit to the USA or the Pakistan, not our own country. That is what is happening. And that is why, like our MES said, very simple, because we are not brokers. So that happens only for Pakistans, not for Indian politicians, I suppose. So Indian oppositions can do their homework well, and then they can talk about something good for the country and not for the country neighborhood. That is what we all Indians can say for the opposition parties and their misinformation and disinformation. So thank you very much for watching. Namaskar.